Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel now. Obviously, Election Day has already come and gone here in the United States, and that was the day where we Americans decided to pick on whoever we wanted to be the next president of the United States, whether that be Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. And obviously, there's also other things that we had to vote for, like senators, representatives, mayors, governors in some states. But obviously, we all know the election has already happened, and it is now officially confirmed that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States after he has won pretty considerably. You know, he got pretty much every single swing state that he needed to win. Now, this is the first video since the 2024 election, since those two uploads that I made on election day. And now I think it's the time we do a video talking about it. I have another, analysis video / autopsy report on the Democrats that will be coming out shortly. But for today, we're going to be focusing on Donald Trump's victory, how he won, and basically the reactions to it, and my thoughts on it altogether. So nothing too fancy, nothing too detailed and or in-depth. Again, my analyzing the 2024 election video, that will be coming out relatively soon. But either way, we got a lot to get into for this week. You know, Trump has already picked out his own cabinet. I'm going to give you my own thoughts and predictions about that. We also have my thoughts on what he should do and my predictions on what he will do in his first 100 days and his second term of being president. So much to discuss. Again, everything is written on my dry erase board on what to talk about, so stick around and let's get into it. Now, the winner of the 2024 election is Donald Trump, and he won pretty considerably. Obviously, unfortunately, I did not do a live stream on covering and reacting to the 2024 election, and that's because I was out, chilling in the Red Eagle Politics Discord server and chatting with people. However, I was able to live tweet everything that was going on, confirming states, calling states, giving you as much detail as I can on what is going on in this election, how many votes are being counted, who's leading in what state, who's winning, who's losing, who won, who lost, the whole 9 yards. And I even stayed up late to cover each and every single state that was being called and the lead changes that was happening as the election was going on. I literally stayed up till 2 in the morning covering this election. So at around 1:30 a.m., 90 seconds after Fox News called it, I projected Donald Trump to be the winner of the state of Pennsylvania. And at the same time, because he reached 268 electoral votes, at that same time, the Axiom Decision Desk officially projected that Donald Trump had been elected as President of the United States. Fox News was the first ones to call it, and it took other legacy networks like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and CBS to officially call it for Trump. Now, some states were obviously still counting the votes even after Trump has been declared the winner. It took a while for Alaska, Nevada, and Arizona to be called. But Donald Trump has won pretty much every single swing state that was up for grabs for both sides. And I would say he won them in a pretty strong fashion. He won Pennsylvania considerably. He won North Carolina. He won Georgia considerably. He won Wisconsin pretty considerably. He was able to win Arizona considerably. He was able to win Michigan considerably. I didn't even have a prediction on Michigan. I just flipped a coin. And he was able, for the first time since 2008, since Barack Obama ran for president, he was able to win the state of Nevada. He was able to flip that state. Now, Nevada was a state that I kept mentioning over and over again as a state of, it's not a matter of if, but when that state would flip red. In 2022, they elected a Republican governor, Joe Lombardo. They came close or are pretty close to flipping that seat. I think at some point, eventually, they will end up having a Republican senator in there. If they can vote for a Republican president and a Republican governor, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a Republican senator in there one way or another. So Trump pretty much won every single swing state that was up for grabs. And I know a lot of people were focusing on the swing states more specifically, but across the entire country, Trump did fairly well. There was not a single county that he underperformed. There was not a single county where he underperformed, not even in 2016. In fact, Kamala Harris didn't even flip a single county that was won in 2020. If you take a look at the trends between 2020 and 2024, not a single one of these counties and any of these areas swung to the left. We really couldn't find an instance where Kamala Harris was outperforming Joe Biden. We couldn't find where she was even overperforming Hillary Clinton. And here in my home state of Florida, Trump was able to win Miami-Dade County for the first time since Ronald Reagan was running for president. Even deep blue counties like Broward and Orange swung a few points to the right in Trump's favor. And even Osceola County, which is a very, very deep blue and overwhelmingly Democratic county, Trump was able to win Osceola County, a longtime Democratic stronghold in the state of Florida. So looking at the 2024 electoral map, it is almost exactly the map that I predicted. So of course, again, I posted my prediction on X on what the final map would end up looking like, and I pretty much got every single state right except Michigan, where I didn't give a formal prediction on. I said that that state could go either way and that it was a true toss-up. But either way, I was still able to get 49 out of all 50 states correctly in my presidential prediction. I never really gave a prediction on the Senate. However, I did mention that if the Republicans do end up regaining the Senate, it would be between 53 and 56 seats gained by the Republicans. Now, as of recording, we're probably going to end up getting around 53 or 54 seats in the Senate. So also a correct prediction. But at the same time, when I'm looking at some of the Senate races that we see, some of the more winnable races like, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona, I think those states would have been easily won if it weren't for Mitch McConnell doing Mitch McConnell things. Because as we remember, the reasons why the Republicans underperformed in 2022 was all because of the leadership that they have. Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Ronna McDaniel, or rather, Ronna Romney McDaniel. And the GOP establishment failed at what they were supposed to do, and as a result, several candidates, including Blake Masters, Don Bolduc, Doug Mastriano, Carrie Lake, Adam Laxalt, they all lost. And it was because of people like Ronna McDaniel, Mitch McConnell taking all the money from all of these Senate candidates and giving it to Lisa Murkowski, who is arguably the biggest rhino, the rhino of all rhinos in the GOP, and Lindsey Graham, who, in the wake of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, decided to propose and announce that he was going to put forth on the table a national abortion ban. So obviously that effect is still there in 2024, affecting some of these Senate races, which means the majority tally of the Senate would be much lower than what the GOP initially anticipated. Now, as far as the House is concerned, they're still counting votes on who will control the House, but so far it's looking like the Republicans will end up taking both the House and the Senate, which means they have control of both chambers of the Congress plus the presidency, earning them the full trifecta of the US government. Now, obviously, there are a ton of reactions going on about it. Some people are really, really happy. Some people are freaking the fuck out right now. And obviously, people on the left are having the biggest meltdown that I have ever seen. Something that I also predicted. I said that either way, regardless of the outcome, both sides are going to have a huge meltdown once the results finally poured in. And since Trump won the presidency, the left is having the meltdown. Now, the Democrats obviously are just completely clueless as to what happened and why did this happen. Because not only Trump won outright, in fact, I forgot to mention this, Trump also won the popular vote in this election cycle. In 2016, he was able to notch 63 million votes, which is lower than Hillary Clinton's 65 million, and that's where you get all the complaints from the left that the Electoral College should be done away with and that we should just stick to a national popular vote. In 2020, Biden won 81 million votes. Trump was able to win around 72, 73 million. I don't remember the exact total number of votes that Trump won in 2020, but it's definitely around the 70 million range. And then fast forward to today, in 2024, Trump not only won the popular vote, Trump also won more votes than his 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. Right now, as of recording, he is sitting at 74 million votes, and he could potentially hit as high as 76 million votes once the full tally of votes is entirely counted. So not only Trump won all these swing states and won the Electoral College outright, but Trump won the popular vote by a lot. He got more votes than his two past presidential bids. Now, I've noticed that the Democrats are, obviously to no surprise, playing the blame game on literally everything else but themselves. On one hand, they're blaming white people, no surprise. They're calling America racist. They're calling America sexist. They're telling everyone that America is a racist and sexist country because they voted against a black woman. They're blaming men. They're blaming women. They're blaming white men, white women. They're even blaming black men and even Latinos, and I'm gonna go and pull out and show you this chart because I find this very interesting. 45% of Latino men voted for Donald Trump, and 40% of Latino women also voted for Trump. And 16% of black men voted for Trump, the highest percentage of any Republican. So of course it's no surprise that toxic masculinity, uneducated rubes living in dirt poor Appalachia, white women, and pretty much every group you can think of, even Arabs, Muslims, and Jews, the Democrats are obviously blaming everybody but themselves. The truth is, they ran a terrible choice of a candidate. They didn't even bother to run a primary and tell Biden to step aside earlier on in the election. It was already too little too late once he already dropped out. And you also gotta understand that this administration is hated. It's just no surprise how much of a goddamn fucking shit show this administration was for its entirety. And supposedly, looking at this chart, doesn't Trump and the Republicans, hate black people and hate minorities and whatnot? That's not necessarily the case. A lot of these people just voted within their own interests. People see that the economy sucks. Gas prices are high. We have supply chain issues. The housing market has been completely fucked. Crime is at an all-time high. Illegal immigration has been completely out of control. And even more so, if you take a look at the Rio Grande Valley, which, by the way, has a lot of immigrants and has a lot of Mexicans living there, a lot of the Latino voters in that region voted for Trump. So I was told that, Trump wants to deport all Mexicans. Well, it seems like a lot of these Mexican voters voted against open borders. The vast majority of immigrants in this country came here legally. They left their old countries for a reason, because there's a lot of crime and a lot of violence going on there. They do not want to see that same exact violence come into their new homeland. So of course, they want to vote for somebody who wants to clamp down on illegal immigration. So it seems like all the attacks, the Haitians, they're eating the cats, eating the dogs thing, the stupid joke at Madison Square Garden where this comedian told a joke about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage. The left seem to think that, oh my god, we got this in the bag. The GOP are Nazis, they're shooting themselves in the foot. No way Americans are gonna vote for a raging Nazi who's basically the second coming of Hitler. No way that's gonna happen. We got this in the bag. Now, obviously, they ended up losing. So now they're blaming the exact people who they are pandering to, because all of which have been completely disillusioned with what's been going on with the economy, with crime, and even with their own policies. A lot of Americans do not like critical race theory. It is completely and totally ahistoric. It is blatantly racist. And while we're on the topic, DEI is not popular either. Same goes with the LGBTQ. Pretty much most, if not all Americans are incredibly sympathetic to the LGBTQ community. They heavily support things like gay marriage. They support gay rights. They support trans rights. But some of the issues that they are proposing are rightfully seen by some as extreme. Men and women's sports, kids in drag shows, or whether or not kids should be able to transition at a very young age. These are not necessarily popular. Same thing with Israel and Gaza. People, when they watch the news, to be fair, it brings tears to a lot of people's eyes when they see children being slaughtered. I mean, this whole situation is fucking disgusting. But a lot of people on the left, chanting slogans like "from the river, from the sea," and being sympathetic to terrorist groups like Hamas, it's rubbing a lot of these people the wrong way. I mean, with all these things, with how bad the Biden administration was, and the combination of all these, leftists, the left doesn't seem to realize this. There's a reason why Bernie Sanders got crushed in 2020. Again, by an old dude with dementia who nobody really likes. Because the average American completely and totally rejects socialism. The average American completely and totally rejects so-called progressivism. And if you combine that with the fact that this administration is not popular whatsoever because it's full of a bunch of milquetoast, neoliberal, warmongering con people that is completely and totally out of touch with everybody, that's exactly why Trump won all of these groups. Especially a lot of Latinos are really sick and tired of people using the term Latinx, whatever it is. Trying to disregard gender that is common in Romance languages like Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Italian. Like el and la, like el niño, la niña. There is just no such thing as Latinx. You are either Latino or Latina. So a lot of these Hispanic and Latino voters saw that and they just got completely disillusioned from it. A lot of them are just viewing it as cringe. And rightfully so. Again, there are just multiple reasons as to why the Democrats lost bigly in this election. I'm gonna have a separate video about the autopsy report regarding the Democrats, but really what I just explained to you is just the tip of the iceberg. So of course the left, literally expecting to win this election, expecting Kamala Harris to win, a lot of them are completely flipping out on X. You know, the Krastensteins are on their usual rampage. But before we move on to my thoughts, I'm just gonna go and read you some of the few tweets that I found on X, and even some screenshots of some Instagram stories of some of these notable people reacting to the results of this year's election. Starting with Jacksepticeye, who was the first one that I've seen reacting to the election results, and he went on and said this: "Just woke up and saw the news. I really thought she had it. Can't believe people would rather vote for a talking, blistered hemorrhoid." Now, keep in mind, Jacksepticeye also called out PewDiePie when he was under fire by the Wall Street Journal after paying people $5 to make a dark joke. If I remember correctly, I think that ended their friendship. So I'm pretty much not surprised that Jack would respond with this tweet here. Another reaction that I found was from VivziePop, who you may know as the Helliverse creator, Has Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss. And she writes, "Literally, unfucking follow me, I don't care. I've held back so much and I'm hurting for myself and my loved ones. I think it's also just such a fucking hard thing to grasp that this much of the country, just full stop, would rather have a hateful, racist, rapist clown who can barely function. I can't make sense of it. I truly believed in this country. I can't anymore." Now, Styx Hexenhammer 666, who is a big fan of the Helliverse, and is also someone who voted for Trump, quote posted that same post, and snarkily and trollingly replied with this: "Stolas is not particularly pleased with this, although he appreciates his cartoon depiction." So just a little bit of a troll response from Styx Hexenhammer, who is a fan of the show Hell of a Boss. He literally has a Stolas plushie in the background of his videos, and sometimes even wears a Stolas shirt in some of his videos. That's basically his way of, calling Viv salty, which she is. And Viv at least is not really taking a jab at her own fans. I don't think she's attacking people like Styx Hexenhammer for voting for Trump and telling everybody to fuck off. I think that the problem is that a lot of her fans give her a hard time and they stress her out a lot, even for the most apolitical things. Ayla Mao has made hundreds of videos about the controversies that VivziePop got herself into. Most of these are just completely fucking pointless and serves no justification to cancel her. So I'm not really that surprised that she would lash out like this, since she does get a lot of controversy time after time again, but I don't see her directly telling anybody to directly stop watching her projects and denouncing her fan base, lashing out and calling everybody out for their political views, which is what Morgana Ignis did, who is the voice of Sally Mae in Hell of a Boss, and she's a transgender actress who, unlike Viv, went out and directly attacked her own fan base for voting for Trump on Instagram. I literally don't want you as a fan. Spend 5 seconds Googling what Trump thinks of trans women like me. A staple of his campaign has been harnessing violent, ravenous hatred against our community. If you enjoy what I do as an entertainer, but would vote for a candidate who threatens the life of me and my loved ones, then I'm disgusted I ever did anything to bring you joy. Okay, time out. That sounded pretty goddamn harsh coming from you, Morgana. Number one, I know you are a tough woman, but even for some of your fans, that was quite a bit harsh, don't you think? And number two, I've noticed with a lot of celebrities, and this happened with 2016 as well, and I've mentioned this in previous videos before leading up to the election, but I've seen a lot of people saying that, Trump was a racist, and that Trump somehow hates the gay and trans community, or that Trump thinks that trans people have no right to exist. But at the same time, you have people like Caitlyn Jenner, Blair White, and Sarah Higdon, all of which are transgender women. They came out and they supported and voted for Trump. And Trump even has no problem with them whatsoever. Especially Caitlyn Jenner, and they're actually really good friends. He also, back in 2016, actually came out and supported the LGBTQ community in one of his speeches. And again, let me reference that chart once again. Let us not forget, this election, compared to all other elections that we had in the past, Trump got more votes from blacks and Latinos and women than in 2016 and 2020. And again, even Puerto Rican voters who were supposed to be offended by the whole floating pile of garbage joke at MSG, counties with a lot of Puerto Ricans, they voted overwhelmingly red too. So I'm not so sure where this racist, sexist, homophobic stuff is coming from. Nobody's rights are under assault because of this election. I think everyone is going to be just fine. So Morgana, I love you, but please cool your goddamn jets. I know you might think just because I voted Trump doesn't mean I want you gone from the face of the earth. That's not the case. I actually strongly disagree with the right on how they view gay marriage and transgender rights. You're probably one of my favorite people that I've ever known. Now, I get it. I know you're seriously passionate about transgenderism since you are transgender yourself. Trust me, 90 to 95% of Americans would put their hands up if asked about supporting the trans community. At the same time, even some transgender individuals think that there should be a certain age on when people should transition, because some procedures are irreversible, and puberty blockers are actually considered extremely risky, especially at a young age. So you don't have to tell your fans to fuck off just because they want common sense, or a better economy, or they're disillusioned with the current administration. We love you. You're gonna be just fine here. Nothing bad is gonna happen. God forbid if your rights are under assault, trust me, a lot of us will call it out. Because I know you're loved, and to me and many others, you are such an inspiration. God bless you. But with such a super harsh response like that, to be fair, you're pretty much just being salty. So obviously, Morgana is not the only Helliverse actor that spoke out. Kimiko Glenn, who is the voice of Nifty in Has Been Hotel, posted this on her Instagram story. When they strip away our access to reproductive health care, both women and men will feel it. Again, the whole notion that a national abortion ban is going to be passed, which again is already ridiculously unpopular and will not happen. Optimus actually had a pretty good and straightforward response to Trump winning the election, and this is pretty much what I said in the video and what I'm going to be saying in the autopsy report. So Optimus also commented on the election, and this response that he had is one of my favorite responses because it's actually true. So Optimus, he took to X and he said this: "I've simultaneously seen Democrats blame white supremacists, Latino voters, black voters in the South, Elon Musk, social media, uneducated white voters. Party of inclusion didn't come out to vote, it seems. Now they're pointing fingers at everyone else. You blew it. GG's." Now, while there were some people who were obviously salty about Trump winning, not everyone was completely pissed off about Trump winning the election. In fact, there are some that were actually happy with Trump winning re-election, including Keemstar, who actually said this on X: "Very proud of every American that went out to vote Trump. We all won tonight. Even the other side won. They just don't know it yet. And they might never truly understand that America was saved tonight." Another person who is also celebrating Trump's victory is Dr. Disrespect, and he says, "I just woke up from my waterbed. I'm already having a cocktail." Posts a celebration emoji, an American flag emoji, and a martini emoji. Nick Merckx, a very well-known streamer, former US Marine, and an outspoken open supporter of Donald Trump, posted a picture of Trump wearing a black MAGA hat and said, "Welcome back, Mr. President." And finally, Tfue, another streamer and fellow Florida man, voiced his support on the election simply by just posting a picture of him next to a Trump cutout smoking a victory blunt. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on this election. Trump won. He got enough votes in the Electoral College, passed the number 270. He even won the popular vote. Republicans are going to take the Senate. Republicans are going to take the House. He's going to have this trifecta, and the Democrats just didn't do well. They had a piss-poor candidate. Their messaging wasn't good. They don't have good leadership. A combination of the administration being bad and the fact that they're being a little bit too woke, that's really what affected them. And of course, the left is reacting as expected. You know, they're making their usual rants on TikTok. Some are even hoping that he fails and are wishing him to fail. Wishing somebody that you hate so much to fail at their job is like saying that I don't like the guy who is captaining the ship, so I'm hoping that he sinks the ship because he sucks and he's a terrible person. That's basically what this is. The one thing you gotta do is hope for the best and hope that he actually does what he promises. Like in my case, I'm just gonna go and wish Trump the very best. I hope he does what he promises, and I hope he turns out to be just as good, if not better, than what many people think he will be. You know, I'm just hoping, and I do think he's going to create jobs that not only will benefit people like me, not only will benefit for the people who voted for him and like him, but also for the people that hate his guts. So I wish him all the best. Congratulations on winning the presidency. And my hope for him is that he makes America proud again, makes America strong again, makes America safe again. And most importantly, I hope he makes us proud and he does in fact make America great again. And I'm cautiously optimistic that he will, in fact, make America great again. And most importantly, we need to unite. That's all I gotta say. We just need to be united. We've been polarized for just so long, for so much time. I think the only way we need to move forward is if we all unite together. A house that is divided on itself cannot stand. That's just my take here. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias. Links are in the description below. Share this video around with your friends, families, boyfriends, girlfriends, enemies, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you were to share this video with whomever you know. Of course, I'd like to hear all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think is going to happen next? Is America back? Is America doomed? Who do you think is going to run in 2028? What do you think is going to happen in 2026? I do have videos plans for those relatively in the future. Again, we got a lot of post-election stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about the cabinet picks. We're going to be talking about who's going to be the Senate Majority Leader. We're going to be predicting what Trump is going to do and what Trump should do in his second term. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we got so much to talk about as written on my dry erase board. So much stuff will end up being discussed. And this is why you should subscribe to the channel, because you don't know when those videos are going to drop. And that way, when a video finally gets uploaded, you get that video right away and you know when I upload. Because again, I'm your news guy. That's what I do. I keep you guys up to date on all the information that we're seeing right now in regards to current events. Whatever it might be, I'm your news guy. That's just what I do. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on those notifications, and make sure you set them to all and not personalized. And anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You're awesome.